I'm about to spend the next year, maybe the next 12 months, to do a real good deep dive into mods. Mods is something that I've worked on before, and I thought I would share my way to burn the sounds of the mods into my system. I'll start off with a joke though. How do you get a guitar player to stop speaking? Ask them to explain the mods. I'm not going to explain the mods. I'm just going to share how I have practiced them before and what I'll be doing for the next 12 months ahead. Full disclosure, I did not come up with this idea. I have integrated sort of two concepts, two ideas into one, because I needed to simplify it. I need it to be really simple, you know. I first got it from Joe Satriani, Joe Sach, or Joe Sat as I call him. He talks about playing over a drone tone, so just like maybe one note playing. I can run through modes and stuff to hear the difference between them. Frank Gambale, I purchased his Peace and Harmony course, and he has a slightly different way where he'll play a chord progression, and he recommends doing it in the key of E. He's got some chords playing in the background, and he's going up and down the fretboard, and he's saying go through the Ionian, then the Dorian, and then the Phrygian and stuff, and Lydian, and to me that's too difficult. So I needed a way where I could simplify it as much as possible, and I believe I've come up with a way that makes mods really easy. And I'm not here to really reinvent mods or reinvent music. I'm just sharing how my way of getting the sounds burnt into the system, get the sounds into your ear. So that's the end of section 1. So if we look at a major scale, we know that there's 7 modes in that one scale. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian or Mixolydian, Aeolian and Locrian. 7 modes. Joe Sach talks about playing a drone tone, maybe a low E string, and playing through the different modes to get the different sounds burnt into the system. Frank Gambale talks about taking one mode at a time, playing a chord progression for, say, the Phrygian mode, say, and getting a sound into your head, you know. But it is a lot of work, and I found a way to simplify it. So that's what I'm going to share with you. So let's make this more simplified, okay? The first thing we're going to do is put these notes into 2 groups, the major group and the minor group. So this is what we've just done. We've taken the 7 modes of the major scale and put them into 2 groups. We've got the major ones here, Ionian, Lydian and Mixolydian or Mixolydian, and into the minor group. So major, minor, Aeolian, Dorian, Phrygian and the Locrian mode. So let's go to the next part. So let's begin looking at the major modes. There's a song by a band called Queen called We Will Rock You, and the drum beat goes dum dum ch, you know. Okay, so with that in mind, we want to burn into our heads. Whole, whole, half. Whole, whole, half. Whole, whole, half. Whole, whole, half. Okay. So we're going to do this in the QV. All these modes in E. Okay. Let's start off with the Ionian. Now, if we start off in E, this here is the top E string. This open note here would be E, and we want to think about whole, whole, half. Okay, so starting off in E, whole, whole, half, and we are going to call that pattern number 1. I'm going to use a green pen for that. So pattern number 1. Number 1, whole, whole, half. And I'm going to demonstrate whole, whole, half right now. So now let's look at whole, whole, half. I'm going to put on a drone tone just now, and I'm going to start off with playing the open E string, because that's the root note. E. E, whole, whole, half. Root note, whole, whole, half. Okay. Root note, whole, whole, half. And practice that. Practice pattern number 1. Great time for the track to finish. Count the notes. Count them. Put a number to them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 2, 1, 4, 3. Practice this. Now here's what's beautiful. We can play that same pattern all across this fretboard. But first we need to find the E note on a different string. So let's look at the string, let's look at the B string and find the note E. Here is the note E. We've played the open string. Now let's play E on the B string on the 5th fret. And we can play pattern number 1, whole, whole, half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Okay. Spend a few days practicing pattern 1 and pattern number 2. Something like this. Put on a timer for 2 or 3 minutes and just do something like this. No, it's not about reinventing guitar solos. It's about getting the sound of Ionian into the system. Okay. Now let's find E on the G string. This is E on the G string. So let's locate that E on the 9th fret and play pattern number 1, or whole, whole, half. And you can spend a few days, set a timer for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes, for 6 minutes, and maybe play through these 3 shapes, or 1 shape, 1 pattern, but across the 3 strings. Okay, so you've spent a few days working with this pattern, okay? Now let's find that same pattern, but on the D string. Here is the D string with that root note E. And let's play the same pattern, whole, whole, half. Whole, whole, half. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whole, whole. Okay, and again, you're just letting time pass. You're spending 5 minutes a day playing this pattern number 1. E, 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 and playing this part number 1. Let's find that E note, the root on the A string. Here is E on the A string. It's on the 7th fret, number 7. Play the same pattern, pattern number 1, whole, whole, half. 1, 2, 3, 4. And with the E string, the low E, it's the same as a high E. Some ways way. Okay, so that's pattern number 1. Let's look at pattern number 2. This is pattern number 2. Now, this is the 5th of the scale. This is B. Part number 2 starts on the 5th, right? It starts on the note B. And guess what we do in part number 2? We think of a Queen song. We Will Rock You. Dum dum ch, dum dum ch. Ho ho half, ho ho half. You know. So on B, ho ho half, ho ho half, and that's back to the root note, back to E. 5, 6, 7 root, ho ho half. So now, like with pattern 1, we would hunt and look for E notes. Let's look for B notes. Here is the note B, and B is also an open string too. So we can play pattern number 2 on the B note on the B string. Whole, whole, half. Open string. Okay, let's do the same on the G string. This is the 5, it's in red, it's B. The blues, that's the E's. Reds are B's. E's and B's. Roots and 5s, okay? So G string, 4th fret, we have the 5, we have the B. Whole, whole, half again. Okay, and the idea is to sit with a backing track or a drone tone and just play the notes and listen to the sound. You know, not trying to reinvent the wheel, we're not trying to write a masterpiece. We're really trying to burn the sound of Ionian into our ears, our head, our system, okay? Now let's find B on the D string. Here is B on the D string, and it's in red as well. The 5, the B, whole, whole, half. One, two, three, four. Now let's find B on the A string. Here is B on the A string, the 5 of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so, and of course with the low E, it's the same as the high E string as well. Okay, we have looked at 2 patterns. Pattern number 1, which we can start on the blue notes, so the blue dots. I should get it blue. And pattern number 2 on the red dots. Pattern number 1 is whole, whole, half. Pattern number 2 is whole, whole, half, right? So for the next 12 months, what I will be doing is picking two random strings, maybe A and D or G and B, and maybe just spend 6 minutes jumping between a red and blue, you know. So for this wee example, in fact what I could do is make this 5 a red. Let's pretend I done that at the beginning. So this is a dark red, you know. So for the example, what I've done in the past, what I've worked on in the past, this is what I've done in the past. But I'll be doing more of an exploration over the next 12 months. So let's just say today's Monday, and I'm just going to sit for maybe 12 minutes and just pick 2 strings, B and E. B is the root of the scale, E is the root of the scale, and B is the 5 of the scale. And I'm just going to play these 2 patterns on these 2 strings. I'll just give you a wee demonstration to what I mean. I'm not trying to reinvent music. It's just get the sound of the modern tuner system. Okay, so there's E there. Pattern 1 with E. Pattern 2, whole, whole, half. Okay. Pattern 1, whole. Pattern 2. And I want to be guiding towards the chord tones, the 1, 3, 5. So you always want to sort of count notes when you practice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3. That's the chord tone there. Chord tone 5. And I know up here there's a B, a 5. So I can wander off a bit. Here's an E. So the idea is to sit with this drone tone and maybe for 12 minutes. Of course, if this is new to you, do it for 2 or 3 minutes a day, you know. But once you've got this, and it's like, no, I do get this, I can actually see the patterns, then you can set a timer for 12 minutes and just improvise and play, you know, bend up to notes. But really it's about burning the sound of the modern system. This sounds like a lot of work, you know. I'm asking you to put in all of this work, and it seems like a lot of work, you know. To do this for every note would be crazy. nobody could do it, but I found a way, okay? If I was to ask you to do the same thing, but with the Lydian mod, you might think, oh, I've got to learn new patterns, new scales. No, that's not what I'm going to ask you to do, right? To go from Ionian to Lydian, you just need to change one note, one variation, okay? And that variation is in pattern 1. Pattern 2, we don't touch, that stays the same. Let's look at pattern number 1, okay? One, two, three, four. The fourth note here, here's what we want to do with note number 4. Let's score that out. And we're going to raise it half a step. So guess what we've just done now? We've now just played or just made a mode, Lydian. Pattern number 1 is just a small variation. So let's have a listen to pattern number 1. And this time we're doing hole, hole, hole. 3 holes. Root note, hole, hole, hole. And again, just sit and play. Get the shape into your fingers. Now pattern number 2, you have done. Okay, you've done the work on pattern number 2. So this is E. This blue dot tells me there's an E on the 5th fret on the B string, and I just play the same pattern, hole, hole, hole. And there's a E on the 9th fret, I'm going to put the same pattern. Great time for the track to stop playing. Hole, hole, hole. 1, 2, 3, raise 4 or sharp 4. Sharp 4. We know there's an E on the 2nd fret D string. Hole, hole, hole. We know there's an E on the 7th fret on the A string, same pattern. So we have just looked at, or we've just compared and contrasted the Ionian mode and the Lydian mode, okay? And with Lydian, I would do the same thing as the Ionian mode. I would sit. So that's fine there, sorry. So I would sit. Perhaps just pick 2 strings to start off with. There's E there with the hole, hole, hole pattern. Go to the 5, the B, hole, hole, half. You see, just by making one small variation to pattern number 1, you're now playing a new mode. There's no 50,000 different parts to learn. They're just perhaps two shapes, two patterns, and making a small variation. We have just looked at the Ionian and the Lydian mode. Let's look at the Mixolydian or the Mixolydian mode. The first thing that I would suggest that you do is default back to the Ionian. That's our base, right? We're not going to play the Mixolydian in contrast to the Lydian mode. We want to go back to the major as a reset, as a default, and then make that small variation to get to the Mixolydian mode. Okay. So how do we get to the Ionian? This raise 4. We then come back down to 4 again. That's us now back at our base camp. Okay, let's make this into our Mixolydian mode. This time we make a small variation in pattern number 2. So if we were to count up the scale, root 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 2, or back to 1, right? So this 7 here, guess what we do with this 7? We go down half a step. Score that out. And you're going to play flat 7. So now, if you're going to spend time working on the Mixolydian, pattern 1, you've done the work. You've sat with the Ionian mode, you know pattern 1. It's only part 2 you need to make a small variation with. So let's focus on pattern number 2, okay? Starting on the 5 of the chord, the 5th of the chord, B. It was whole, half whole. B, B, whole, half whole. So that means we can look at this fretboard and pick any B on the fretboard and play that pattern. B up on the board here, and these reds, B's, B, 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 okay, B. Of course, it's not about playing fast and shredding, it's about listening. Sorry. So, a wee game that I've played with myself in the past is start on one string, just a random one. We'll just choose G for today. And play pattern number 2. Now I'm thinking I need to find a way to play pattern number 1. So where's the nearest E? Of course, E's here. The scale starts again. There's also an E here. So I could go to this E and play pattern 1. Or go to this E and play pattern number 1. So I can also go down to this E So I could, so just for example, I'll go from B to E, okay? But this time I would try to do it as I would practice it. But it's quite hard to get into the zone while I'm trying to, but that doesn't matter, okay? You know, so that's just a wee demonstration. So just a few final thoughts. For myself, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into mods over the next 12 months. So for, say, an entire month, I'll be playing pretty much the mods in this way, approaching the mods here. Just creating a map. But I'm not having to do this for 2 hours a day. Okay, and it's not about I'm going to sit and do this for 2 hours a day, right? It's about set a timer, 6 minutes, 12 minutes, and just make this part of your practice routine. You know, it's about getting the sound, because there's different ways to approach this. You know, you've got your pentatonic shapes, you know, you have your triads and your arpeggios and stuff. So this is not about this is the only way to do it. This is just a way to do it, to get the sound into your system, you know. A way to move about the fretboard, to look at the fretboard in a different way, to approach it in a different way. Mods don't begin and end here. It's just a way that I found useful to myself, and I find it easier to bounce between the modes just by making small variations. So give this a go, give this a try. You know, if it doesn't work for you, you know, you've wasted maybe a few weeks of your life, but I would stress it's not the only way to do this. It's just the way that I believe for myself. It's a more simplified way of getting the sound into my system. So hopefully I've broken down a way that anybody can practice the 3 major modes, but the intention is to get the sound into your head, get the sound into your system, your ears, your head, you know. I will make a part 2 to do the mods. If anybody's interested in watching part 2, please like and subscribe.